Hi there! This EdTalk is all about study permit compliance, meaning protect your study permit. If you're planning to study in Canada or you already got your study permit, this talk is just for you. Let's break it down in simple language. What it really means to stay compliant with your Canada study permit so that you don't face any problems later. Compliance is a powerful word, but what does study permit compliance really mean? When you get a Canadian study permit, there are rules that you must follow to stay in Canada legally. These rules are part of Canadian immigration law. They are not optional. You must follow them until you finish your studies and beyond. Basically, Canada expects you to be registered and enrolled at your school, which is called a Designated Learning Institution or DLI. Stay enrolled until you finish your program, actively pursue your studies, and this means attending classes, completing work, and progressing in your program. Stay enrolled at the right school. In the past EdTalks, we have discussed choosing the right DLI, the right location, and the right program. This is the next step. Your study permit names the school or the DLI you will be studying at, and that name matters. If you want to change schools, for example, move from one college or university to another, you must apply for a new study permit before you start at the new school. Just switching and not telling IRCC can be seen as a violation. Now, what does actively pursuing studies mean? Active pursuit means you're registered full-time or part-time when it's allowed for each semester. You're making normal progress towards your degree or diploma. You're attending classes and not just being enrolled on paper. If you're not doing any of these, Canadian immigration can view your study permit as non-compliant. Now let's look at what are authorized leaves and what's allowed. There are some cases where you can take a break from classes without violating your study permit. But these breaks must be approved by a college or university, no longer than the allowed number of days, for example, medical or emergency leaves, and they should be properly documented. If you're out of school longer than the allowed period without approval, it might look like you're not following your study permit conditions. Your study permit will continue to remain valid as long as you follow the conditions mentioned on your study permit. So, why does compliance matter? Canada watches how international students follow the rules. And how do they do it? 1. Random checks. 2. Reporting by DLIs. 3. Immigration questions when you enter or leave Canada at the port of entry. Now, if they think that you're not complying, they could ask you to prove that you're studying. If you can't, there may be consequences like losing your permit or trouble when you come back later. So what happens if you don't comply? Not following the rules can lead to serious issues. For example, study permit cancellation, you're required to leave Canada, and a waiting period before you can apply again maybe. So compliance isn't just a legal phrase, it's something that protects your future plans in Canada. Here's a real-world example. Imagine this. You stop attending classes without letting your school or IRCC know, or you switch colleges without reapplying for your study permit. Your school must report your enrollment status to Canada's immigration department, and if it shows that you stopped attending, IRCC may flag you as a non-compliant person. This is a key reason many international students face review, not because Canada does not want you there, but because rules have become stricter to ensure that you are genuinely studying. Okay, now what about spouses of international students studying a master's degree program? Will they get their open work permits? The devil is in the details, so listen carefully. The study permit holder should be in a master's program of at least 16 months or longer, and the proof of the master's program must clearly indicate the duration. There have been instances where the study permit may be issued for less than 16 months if the passport was expiring before 16 months. Now, in such a case, the spousal open work permit, if eligible, would match the duration of the study permit holder and would later be required to apply for an extension as per instruction on the IRCC website. It is advisable to have both student and spouse passports valid for the whole duration of the study program and PGWP to avoid unnecessary documentation and paperwork involving these extensions. But it's always not possible and documentation cannot then be avoided. So take help from an RCIC. Now for some important stuff about PAL. A PAL or TAL is required if you're restoring your status and applying for a study permit extension if it has expired by applying for a restoration of your study permit status within 90 days of losing your status, regardless of whether or not you're changing your DLI or level of study. So a PAL or a TAL is needed if you're extending your study permit status. Also note, your PAL must be valid at the time of your application receipt. Now, another question that bothers many students is in cases where a PGWP applicant is eligible for a 3-year PGWP but receives a shorter duration due to passport expiry. Do they need to upload valid language test results for PGWP extension? Well, the good news is, no need to provide a new valid language test if only extending PGWP due to passport validity. Wow, that was a lot of detailed information for you on how to remain compliant during your stay in Canada. So what's the final takeaway? Always stay enrolled and attend your classes. Follow the rules on your study permit. If you need to change anything like school, program, leave, inform IRCC and follow the correct process. Don't rely on hearsay advice. Always check with your school or official Canadian immigration sources, maybe an RCIC or a RISIA. Doing all this will help you study without problems and keep the door open for PGWP and future PR options. Meanwhile, do subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on all our socials, and stay informed about your study abroad journey. Thank you and see you soon.